Alright, so for alkanes and alkenes, comparing the two, remember they're examples of hydrocarbons, and the definition of a hydrocarbon, it contains hydrogen and carbon. You need to put the word only. If it just says contains hydrogen and carbon, you may not get the mark there, but it contains hydrogen and carbon only. And always remember, carbon always has 4 connections only. So remember, alkanes and alkenes, hydrocarbons, have hydrogen and carbon only. Carbon has 4 connections. So let's start looking at the differences between the two. So we've got alkanes. Alkanes are saturated. What that means, saturated means it only contains single bonds with each carbon. And for alkenes, the way to test for it, if you use bromine water, it stays brown. So it doesn't change color. So it stays brown. Okay? Now, for example, here we've got this carbon, 4 connections, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's methane. And for this one, we've got 3 carbons, so 3 goes with the name prop, so it's propane. Again, if you count 4 connections, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one has 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's alkanes. For alkenes, it's the opposite. So it contains at least 1 double bond, okay, and it's unsaturated. The reason alkenes are automatically unsaturated is because they contain the double bond. So you're only saturated if you only have single bonds. The minute you have a double bond, that's it. And for bromine water, for alkenes, it turns colorless. So that's the difference there. It becomes colorless for alkenes, and it stays brown for alkanes. Now, this example, 3 carbons, again, so that's propene. And remember to always count carbon has 4 connections. So this one, it's got 1, 2, and then for the double bond, that counts as 2, 3, 4. For this carbon, it's got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's done. That's why there's only the 1 hydrogen. And for this carbon, oh, I've actually accidentally missed one out. So it's only got 1, 2, 3. We need to add the 4th. So there, propene. And the formula for propene there, if you count it, it's C3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, H6. Remember, it always has to be lowered. If you raise it up, you don't get the mark. Okay? So yes, alkanes, single bonds, saturated, stays brown. Alkenes, unsaturated, has at least 1 double bond, and bromine water turns colorless. Now, just to remember the names for alkanes and alkenes, the name, it just always depends on the number of carbons. So for methane, for example, meth means it contains 1 carbon. Eth means it contains 2 carbons. Prop is 3, bute is 4, pent is 5, and like with maths, you've seen hex is 6, sept is 8, sept is 7, oct is 8, non is 9 carbons, and like a decagon or decane or decene, this would be 10 carbons. So these names in the front just tell you the number of carbons. Okay? So that's alkanes and alkenes.